Right, I've been listening to a lot of beats recently, and one thing that I have realized that separates a good beat from a bad beat is the mix of the beat. And personally, I've been able to get the perfect mix for my beats. And this is why the most famous artists use my beats. So today I'm going to be going through a beat I've already made and showing you exactly how I mix my beats. Just before I get into showing you how to do it, this is the beat with 0 effects. And this is the beat after I've shown you how to mix it. The difference is insane. Right, I'm going to be going through 3 tips in this video. Tip number 1 is processing the sounds. So let's get straight into it. Right, so we're in this project. This has literally got no effects on any of the channels, neither the master. And one thing that I highly recommend before even making the beat, I'm going to start off with it today, is putting the Fruity Soft Clipper. This is just needed if you're wanting your 808s to clip. So to start with, I'm going to start off with the melody. So let's mute the drums. So the one thing I can hear already is I think the piano is lost in the mix straight away. That bass is way too loud and that guitar just needs some sort of effect on it. So let's start off with the piano. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to boost the piano to make it even louder. Let's go to max for now. We can always bring it down. And the one thing that I obviously want to add straight away is reverb. We use Fruity Reverb too. Just add a little touch to it. Yeah, that sounds nice. I'm going to add the parametric EQ. What I'm going to do is just cut out the low ends so there isn't any bass clashing with the real bass we have. And obviously if we add an 808, we don't want it to clash too. Perfect. While we're just EQing the bass out, let's bring the bass in and let's level that. Yeah, perfect. One thing I love adding to these real basses is free plugins, and that is the Somatics Origin plugin. That is totally free. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn off the low cut, bring this down to about 6,000 hertz, turn off the reel, leave the movement, and maybe turn up the saturation just a little bit. We're going to open up Vintage Chorus, turn off the noise. I'm going to open up a parametric EQ2, go down to this cut, and just take out the high end and bring back in the low end. Just sounds beautiful, man. Oh. Ooh, yeah, perfect, man. So the next sound I'm going to mix in is the pad. And the pad I just got from Contact, and I'm feeling it needs a little bit of rotation. So what I'm going to add is some Fruity Reverb. Bring the wet up, bring down the dry. Put the decay up quite a lot and the low cut. And the second plugin I'm going to chuck on the channel is Pancake 2. And I'm going to change it from 2 bars to 4. Now you can hear it panning from each ear. Now the other sound we have is a top line guitar. And as there's a top line in the piano, we have to make sure they don't clash at all. So I'm even going to solo the guitar and just work on it and then bring the piano in. Let's add some reverb. I love this plugin. This is a free Fruity Reverb. What I'm going to add is some delay. Put it to 8th, bring the cut up, ping pong pan, and just turn it down a bit. And let's bring in the piano. The one other sound I had was a vocal. Let's mix that in, and obviously we can have that in different parts of the beat. But to start with, it's way too loud, so let's turn it down a little bit. And with the vocal, I just want it to poke through. I don't want it to be so prominent. Let's add some reverb. Right, now I think the melody sounds perfect. Now it's on to step number 2, and that is leveling and processing the drums. Right, I do this separately because I want the melody to sound perfect, and then I can level in and basically merge the drums all into this one tight sounding track. So what I need to start with is mute the bass from the melody. And that's this contact region here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the clap and the hi-hat. What I'm going to do on the clap is I'm actually going to add some reverb, like a short tail. Listen to this. Oh, that's so nice. Let's open up an EQ on the hi-hat and just cut out those lows. I'm hearing them clash a little bit in the melody. When I say lows, I mean the low of the sound, like this. What I'm going to do is let's introduce the snare. What I like to do is mix the snare just under the clap a little bit. I mean, that's perfect. One thing that I've realized is a lot of people like cutting the low end out of the snare, which I do agree with in certain circumstances. However, when you have an 808 and a snare, sometimes the clipping of the two sounds unreal. So I'm going to keep it in for this beat. What I'm going to do now, I think, you know, those 3 sounds sound perfect. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce in the open hat. Damn, man, he's turning down a lot. Yeah, perfect. Right, the last 2 sounds we haven't mixed in is the kick and 808. So the first thing before I do anything, what I do on all my beats is on the kick track, I right click, the arrow at the bottom, sidechain to this track. I go onto the 808 channel and I open up a limiter. And if you know me, I always say highly avoid any type of limiting when it comes to these type of beats. However, we're using this limiter for something completely different, and that's a sidechain compressor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the compressor tab, go to sidechain and 1, and that will basically link the kick channel to this plugin. Before I even hear it, I'm going to bring down the threshold and the knee, and I'm going to bring the release up just a tad. Now you're going to hear what it does. Basically, when the kick hits, the 808 ducks, so it's making that room for that kick. So to start with, I'm going to boost that kick up a bit, and I'm going to take out the high end, the air, as they call it, with a fruity EQ. Right, let's unsolo these. Boost that 808. Oof! Damn, this beat sounds insane now. And all of that just takes a simple little 5-10 minutes just to mix it, and it will completely change how that beat sounds. Right, let's move on to the last tip. Tip number 3, and that's mastering your beats if you need to. You know me, I always say try and avoid the master at all costs. Keep the soft clipper and that's it. But one thing that I've been doing a lot recently that I saw someone do is opening up the parametric EQ, not number 2, the normal one, and just boosting the highs a little bit. So there's a little bit more high end and a little bit more crunch. But move the soft clipper to the last slot. I personally can hear it because it adds that kind of life to the beat. Yeah, that's pretty much it for all I do when it comes to mastering beats. It's as simple as that, but can be really effective. I just want to say, if you're finding it hard to mix drums, which I did for so many years, if you download the Blueprint multi-kit that is linked in the description, them drum sounds have all been mixed to how I would use them, so you can avoid having to mix your drums. Right, let's listen to the final beat, and yeah, let's just take the whole mix in. Oh man, how I've done that 808 and kick thing, what? Oh, it's so clean, it's just, what? Man, I can't believe that's done with literally just stock FL plugins too. Like, damn, man. Honestly, it's so crazy how a mix completely change the beat and make it just like insanely better. Right, I hope this video has been really useful to you guys. If it has, make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and leave down below like a tip that you've learned in this video that you're going to use on all of the beats. Right guys, I shall see you in the next video.